This is some lightsaber combat from Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Cal Kestis, the main character who you'll play as, is taking on the Ninth Sister, a member of Palpatine's Inquisitorius, tasked with hunting down any surviving Jedi after Order 66. And she has a double-bladed helicopter-spinning lightsaber, which is very cool and ridiculously quick to fight against. Honestly, starts feeling a little like General Grievous when it spins, but she can also throw the saber and has force powers. Very dangerous and challenging to play against, but heaps of fun. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order comes out really soon, and I was lucky enough to get an invite from EA to fly to Anaheim, California and play the game early. Jedi Fallen Order has really met my expectations for what I was hoping from this game, as well as delivering a whole bunch more. And it's giving me vibes of some other games I've played over the past few years, but I'll talk more about that soon. Hey everyone, it's Andrew, and as part of this trip, we got to go to the new Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland, which is insane and immersive and an experience like no other. Seriously.
Which button? Press it on the left. Wow. Move your stick to fly right and left.
You guys need to go here if you're ever near a Disney theme park. Insane place. And also we got to stay back after everything had closed and do this.
Channel sucks!
This is me fighting Cubs fan Han at 1 AM on Main Street in Disneyland. If you want to see more of this and Galaxy's Edge and the Fallen Order event, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Got heaps more videos over there. This has easily been one of the best events I've ever been to, so I highly recommend you check that stuff out. And just after this happened, I actually challenged Vince Zampella, the Respawn founder, who also helped create Apex Legends, Titanfall, Call of Duty, and now Fallen Order, to a lightsaber duel. But he declined, probably too scared. Doesn't want to take on Bombastic. So Jedi Fallen Order. This game is a lot bigger than I first expected, and I know lots of you were worried about it being linear and not having too much player choice based on what we saw in the Kashyyyk gameplay a few months ago. But I'm here to tell you, this is not the case. Not exactly anyway. Sure, the story itself is linear, but the maps and order in which you choose to play them are certainly not. As you play through the game, you'll be unlocking more planets you can explore and choose to fly to pretty much any time you like. You choose these from your ship, the Stinger Mantis, and you can go back and visit previous worlds anytime in the game. But on the planets themselves, the map design is quite complex. You'll need to figure out how to make your way around by looking for clues, using the map, and completing puzzles. Yes, this game has multiple puzzle and platforming elements, which make up quite a portion of the gameplay. These are some of the core mechanics of the game, along with the combat, and you'll be solving puzzles, looking for clues, and scaling the landscape on a map-by-map basis. Now, this game is hard, but in the right way, in the rewarding way. There's definitely a learning curve when it comes to you progressing and becoming a more skilled fighter, and solving the puzzles and platforming your way around does take a certain mindset. But all these will become easier as you unlock more abilities on the skill tree, which, by the way, is quite dense. There's lots of moves, combos, and abilities to unlock, and you'll need to gain skill points during your playthrough, which can be used to unlock more skills. I played the game for about 3.5 hours and was finding I was becoming much more equipped to have the tools and skills to fight and navigate the world how I wanted as I progressed. Like, the more combat moves I unlocked, the more combos, the more force powers, I found I was having a much easier time. But as my powers were growing, so too were the enemies. They were becoming more powerful as the game progressed, had more numbers, and bigger bosses. There are lots of different enemies to fight in this game of all different shapes and sizes, and you'll come across a wide variety of enemies in a short space of time. These will obviously differ from planet to planet, and what I loved about them was that each takes different tactics and a different approach to fight. Some will parry or block certain moves, some will be easier to fight with force powers, some will require extra patience and timing. There's a lot of variety in the way you'll be facing off against your enemies, and the skills you'll need to fend them off will vary, which is it's a lot of fun, a lot of variety. Okay, so I want to talk about how the feel of this game reminds me of a mix of two other huge games from the last 10 years or so. The first of those is Dark Souls. Dark Souls was iconic for its rewarding difficulty level and the classic attack and roll backwards move during combat. Fighting enemies in Fallen Order reminds me a lot of the way you do so in Dark Souls, because there's no way you can just button mash and go in there swinging. You need to be patient, time your moves, and then dive out of of the way when the enemy is attacking, especially against the larger enemies. But at the same time, it's probably not as hard as Dark Souls. It's not going to be like a one-hit kill if you get hit by a big enemy, unless you got no health. But not only does Fallen Order resemble Dark Souls in combat, but also in map design. Fallen Order really doesn't hold your hand when it comes to navigating your way around, and only really gives you a few minor hints. You need to discover new areas and use the map extensively, or just go in certain directions and make your way around using trial and error. And this is a part of the challenge of the game. Respawn wants you to explore these maps and discover all their hidden corridors and secrets. After completing a story mission, it took me 20 minutes to navigate my way back to the ship, and upon returning, I had only completed 30% of the map. There is lots to do here, lots of things to discover on the maps, lots of secrets, lots of Easter eggs. You can really go in depth and try and 100% this game. It has a very completionist sense to it. Now, the other game Fallen Order resembles is Tomb Raider, or any of the Tomb Raider games from the past few years. This is where I feel Fallen Order has taken inspiration for its platforming and puzzle solving. Every map you'll be climbing, jumping, sliding, wall running, swinging, and performing a wide variety of movements just to make your way around. But this gameplay is also puzzly, and you'll need to look for clues and hints in the world to figure out where to go and how to get from platform to platform. It's not just simple, straightforward, linear gameplay. And these are all core mechanics of this game, and will require some practice and timing to get right. You'll probably fall off a lot of cliffs towards the beginning, which is very normal in a platforming game. Also, puzzles. There'll be a variety of puzzles you'll need to use your platforming skills and force powers to solve, and will need to complete these in order to continue your journey through the story and game. And like I said before, the game doesn't hold your hand. One of the puzzles I solved required quite a bit of trial and error, platforming, and moving between different levels on the map to figure out, and took me a good half an hour. And I did actually need a little help from a Respawn dev who was standing near me to get the job done in the end. And I honestly think that's a good thing. Not the fact that the Respawn dev was there to help me, but the fact that I would have had to take longer to figure it out. I'm glad that they've set out to make a challenging game you'll need to be patient with and work out how to make your way around. This is far from being a run and gun, fast-paced experience. There are lots of slower moments, times when you'll need to sit back, take a look around, think about what you might have missed, and go exploring to work your way through. And there's also lots of new planets and creatures, all of which are now Star Wars canon. I might talk a bit more about these in some future videos, but there'll also be some familiar faces popping up along the way of your journey. And the worlds and maps in this game are beautiful and dense, and are giving me some God of War vibes to throw another game into the mix if anyone's seen or played that. Also somewhat similar in the way you move through the world and interact with the narrative. And like I mentioned earlier, lightsaber combat, lots of fun, challenging, rewarding, and really requires patience and timing. I'm probably going to go a bit more in depth about this in a future video, because there's so much more to talk about this game now that I've played it. It was heaps of fun, and I honestly can't wait until I get my hands on it again. So what do you think of all this? Do you like that the game looks challenging? And are you excited for Fallen Order? Let me know in the comments. And stay tuned for more Fallen Order videos really soon, but in the meantime, check out my Insta and Twitter. More from the LA event over there. Looking forward to this, guys. Thanks for watching. My name's Andrew. I'll catch you soon.
Channel sucks.
Stay bombastic.